Boston Cannons Game of the Week is powered by Boston Sports Performance Center, where performance has no limits. BSPC is a premier sports performance, physical therapy, and sports medicine center serving the Boston and Metro West communities.
Hi, Cannons fans. Sean Quirk, head coach of the Boston Cannons, going back into the archives 2018 against the Charlotte Hounds. Habits are formed. Winning is a habit. Unfortunately, so is losing. Coming off a 3-game skid coming into this game, the Cannons needed a must victory. We'll see you back here at halftime to give you a first half analysis, and then we'll head to the second half.
Just phenomenal in the cage for the Hoyas.
And our opening face-off, Trevor Baptiste versus Noah Rack, 2 rookies there, of course. And we are underway, and getting right into the mix, there's Brody Merrill. He's back with the Cannons after his time with Team Canada. A lot of world team players back with both of these teams. So we'll be talking about that as we move through this broadcast, and Charlotte will get the ball here after the Cannons tried to attack early. Charlotte snapped a 4-game losing streak with the win last Saturday at Chesapeake, 20-10. It was a wire-to-wire win where they were dominant against Chesapeake. And now coming into today at 7-6, and really they're in this position because of how hot of a start they had to the season, starting 4-0, being 6-2. So even though they lost those 4 straight games, in a chance here to make the playoffs. Kevin Crowley slings it down low, looking for Dylan Maltz, and now both teams have turned it over on their first offensive possessions. Boston, a 3-9 season. Last played a week ago Thursday, a 14-13 loss at New York. Well, these two teams played in the opening week of the season, and it's definitely a game that Boston does not want to remember. Charlotte won 25-7. Really, though, for the Cannons, from that point, though, there's basically an entirely different roster out there right now in this game.
Yeah, the Cannons have made a few moves to kind of tweak that offense. I think defensively, you know, they felt like they were pretty well set for the most part. Had some great goalies in the cage, and I'll still continue to argue I think it's one of the best defenses in the league. But finding the back of the cage has been a challenge in some games this season.
Here's Kyle Jackson, back with the Cannons after playing for the Iroquois Nationals in the World Games, and Shaq Stanwyk can't put it in. Stanwyk, one of those players that was acquired earlier this season in a trade. He's played 2 games with the Cannons with a couple of goals. Shot clock in the building here seems to be having a bit of an issue. So right now it is stuck at 53, at least on the side that's visible to us. And so it could be something where the shot clock is going to be kept at the table. And now it's gone out to our left, but it is working off to our right. So the side of the field that Charlotte's shooting at the clock is working correctly. And going top shelf is Michael Chanenchuk. He had a 5-point evening against Chesapeake last week and gets Charlotte off to a hot start here.
Chanenchuk does this so well, and he can do it with both hands. But when he gets to his right on this alley dodge, it's almost a sweep alley dodge, right? He's making the slide guess whether or not they've got to go. He's able to delay that slide with his body language and not quite showing the shot. He knows exactly when to release it before Fahey can arrive. I think that's one of the guys tonight that they're going to have to slide to early. You can't slide to everybody on an MLL roster, but I think that's one you definitely have to slide to.
17th goal of the season for Chanenchuk. The ensuing faceoff, though, won by the Cannons. Ball in the cross of Brody Merrill in his 14th season. 5th year playing for the Cannons. Out of midfield, Kyle Denhoff now moves it near side to Zed Williams, and the Cannons setting up their attack. Williams, and off the side of the net, Cipriano got a piece of it to make the save. Good shot there by Williams, but Cipriano holding the post there, able to make the stop. Here comes Will Hawes on the run. Finds the open Rambo, and he's denied by Marrocco. It's a good look by Hawes. Better save in the end by Nick Marrocco.
Yeah, I think both of these goalies at both ends are going to do pretty well on those low angles. Both guys stand really tall on those inside shots.
Sergio Perkovic to Max Sebald, taking the long shot there. Sebald playing for Team Israel in the World Championships, had 11 goals, a couple of assists for Team Israel. They finished, I believe it was 7th or 8th place for the second straight year. I know they were top 10. Of course, USA, Canada, Iroquois Nationals were the top 3. In and out of the cross of Ryan Brown, who had a pretty special time in Israel as well. Scored 25 goals in his time there for Team USA.
I think those World Game stats are even more meaningful as the whole field's improved across the board. There's just a better quality lacrosse being played at the international level.
Here's Shaq Stanwyck in his rookie season out of Johns Hopkins. The youngest of the Stanwicks. Now James Pannell coming off a 6-goal game in that game against New York last week. Lost it. Good defense by James Barclay, who played his college lacrosse about, we'll say an hour and a half south, depending upon traffic, at Providence College. Maybe 3-4 hours, depending upon traffic, on a bad day. So 1-0 Charlotte, lone goal scored by Michael Chanenchuk.
You're not going to bait me into a conversation about Boston traffic, right?
No.
I'm in a fairly good mood.
I don't want to talk about it all either. Here's Kevin Crowley. Got by his defender, finds Dylan Maltz, who made a great dodge. But Nick Marrocco was going down on one knee, still was able to get the stick up and make the save. Once again, a pretty move, this time by Dylan Maltz, and Nick Marrocco up to the task. Cannons make some changes through the midfield while in possession. Mark Cockerton rolls left, trying to bounce it. Cipriano the save, and Mark Cockerton, I don't think really had much of an angle on that one, it looked like from our vantage point.
No, that's the third attempt by the Cannons on that low left corner to no avail. I think that both teams have to do a better job at moving the goalies across their crease if they're going to get some quality looks here.
James Fahey, though, picks up the loose ball. Max Sebald having some trouble. Got hit by Will Hawes. Matt McMahon diving to the turf, and now Hawes comes out with it. Michael Earhart brings it into the offensive end, the MVP of the World Championships in Israel. And again, I know it brings a big smile to your face to see a defender win that award.
Well, 100%. I really, even smiling even brighter hearing Tom Schreiber's comments, who
that shot goes
arguably
wide.
one of the considered candidates for that, such a clutch player for Team USA, and, wholeheartedly agreed with that decision. That says a lot about the character and the leadership on that U.S. squad.
And the Hounds there turn it over behind the Cannons' goal. It's been a bit sloppy overall. Only one goal on the board. Chanenchuk for the Hounds. Zed Williams playing his 8th game with the Cannons. Has 16 goals, 8 assists coming into the day. Trying to roll off the defender. Scott Hooper faking a double team. That was Chanenchuk, who was matched up with Williams. Now Kyle Denhoff puts it behind the cage for Stanwyck. Trying to dodge from X against McMahon into the crease. And got pushed off the side of the goal, and it's going to be Charlotte ball, but we will have a timeout first here on the field with 6:55 to go in the first quarter. Michael Chanenchuk with a lone Charlotte goal, and they lead 1-0. Checking out our Maverick player spotlight, and Kevin Cooper, the offensive player of the week, really had a big game against Chesapeake in the absence of a lot of his teammates who were at the World Games.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin Cooper, he's a guy who can step up at any given time, and you got him listed at 6'4". I'm looking way up at that guy when I'm on the field with him. I think he's close to 6'5", 6'6", but he's such a rangy offensive player. He can really get his stick out and create a number of shooting angles, a lot of difficulty for goalies who have a hard time reading the release on his shot.
On the other side, look at James Pannell from Boston. Mentioned he had the 6 goals against the Lizards. He's having a good season, leading the Cannons in points with 37.
Yeah, Pannell's been in a great leadership role for the Cannons. It's certainly a completely different player. He's almost the opposite of Cooper in that he can bring a lot in that inside game and kind of squeezing between a lot of windows that most players can't.
So out of the timeout, Charlotte ball. They lead 1-0 on a goal by Michael Chanenchuk. 13th all-time meeting between the Cannons and Hounds, and the overall series is tied 6-6. Cannons have gone 3-2. In Boston, though, against Charlotte, and we mentioned it earlier, Charlotte opened up the season with a 25-7 win against the Cannons. In that game, Kevin Cooper had a 7-goal outing. Shot was taken by Ryan Brown. Referenced his 25 goals he scored for Team USA, and widely considered the best shooter in the sport, and with either the right or left hand. Shot clock running down, and John Crowley can't get it on cage.
I was waiting for your best shooter in the universe quote.
Best shooter in the universe. But I mean, it's a lot to be said, obviously, that not only it's with both hands, though, which is a pretty special thing because, yeah, sure, you have switch hitters, say, in baseball, but usually they're power from one side, average from the other. It seems like Ryan Brown, right or left, it doesn't matter. He's average and power.
Yeah, I mean, that brings a lot to the table for an offense and challenges defenses to, decide what battle you're going to fight. Mitigate, it's hard to mitigate, that strength because he's strong on both sides.
Cockerton gets it to Sebald. Dodge down the alley. Good help by Barclay. Pass to the middle to Kyle Jackson. Got free to his left, but slung it wide. Shaq Stamwick, though, on the backup with 19 on the shot clock for the Cannons.
Starting to see a lot more off-ball movement out of the Cannons, out of this possession. First couple of possessions, pretty stagnant. One-on-one dodging. Guys weren't moving very much off-ball. I think Coach Rubio is going to be a lot happier with his offense.
Shot clock down to 3-2. And the buzzer sounds, and the Cannons are arguing because, again, they're having an issue with this shot clock. If anybody would realize it, it's freezing. So the clock stopped at 4 and stopped at 4. It froze at 4. Then they did the horn, and then the Cannons are complaining because they looked up and saw 4. So they got to figure that out on the field there. It's 1-0 Charlotte here late in the first quarter. Welcome back, where Charlotte leads Boston 1-0, 4:29 to go in the first quarter. Time now for Cascade Under the Helmet. In a couple of weeks, the 2018 Cascade MLL Rookie of the Year will be announced. This week, we take a look at some of the leading candidates for the award. Denver's Chris Kluche, a 4th-round pick, leads all rookies in goals and points this season. Kluche has tallied 26 goals, added 14 assists in his first 6 games with the Outlaws. Florida's Jules Henenberg, the 7th overall pick in the draft, has 15 goals and 10 assists in 7 games, while 9th overall pick Justin Gutterding has 14 goals and 9 assists in 7 games for the Ohio Machine. Now defensively, Ben Randall was selected in the 2nd round by Ohio. Actually, was drafted in the 2nd round by Charlotte before being traded to Ohio. Through 9 games, he's picked up 26 ground balls and has caused 15 turnovers, which ranks 3rd in Major League Lacrosse. And Ben Randall traded from this Charlotte team. Matt McMahon coming back to the Hounds in that deal. So as we restart the action here, they have the shot clock on and running on the offensive side for Charlotte. The shot clock on the other side right now is dark. Now, obviously, the teams will switch ends in the second quarter, but I don't know, it seems like a questionable decision to have the shot clock visible only to one offense. Plus, it makes it tougher for us to look at it as well.
Right, that's it.
That's the real reason.
Fair question.
That's the real reason.
Yeah, well, yeah, you had mentioned, games you've
I've seen it before in a college game where they would then take the shot clock that is working and roll it to the middle of the field, so then at least it's in the middle of the field.
Right.
So now the Cannons are coming into the offensive end. They look at a blank clock. Don't understand the decision, what they're doing. Here's Zed Williams. Steps back into the box against Hooper. Pair of former Cavaliers of Virginia, and Williams, Zed Williams wide with the shot. And so,
again, the Cannons working that left side. That was a lot closer.
James Pannell launches it back out to Denhoff. Denhoff looking to dodge by his defender Richard. Slide comes. Williams at GLE. Cipriano got a piece of it. They did not get a piece of it, actually. They keep the shot clock at 9, and they're, I guess, counting it down for the Cannons on their side of the field. Williams, backhand. Cannons have attempted a lot of shots, but not many getting on frame. So back to Charlotte here with a 1-0 first quarter lead. Michael Chanenchuk, the only goal. Long pass complete to Chanenchuk, and then bounces it wide of Marrocco in net. Rambo, though, on the backup for Charlotte.
Great focus by Chanenchuk to hold on to that ball, with Brody Merrill bringing the hammer as he caught it.
Rambo going one-on-one against Brandon Mullins. Spins left. Now out for Brown. To his left. Got blocked before it got through. The ground ball, and that's Belial who got it, and then ahead to his teammate Muller. And the Cannons clear. Strange game to see here, just one goal in the first quarter. You don't normally see both teams in a game in the league get off to this slow of a start offensively.
Yeah, it's been a little sloppy. I think the defense has been okay, but and the goalie certainly made a couple of nice stops early on, but we've seen some sloppy play here, and not the best shot selection.
Williams with this off the right hip with his shot. Cipriano the save. Charlotte now on the fast break. They are really the best in that category in the league in terms of fast break goals and percentage, shooting percentage. Definitely have to thank Joe Keegan and Moneyball Lacrosse for keeping those stats together on their website. And so we have 40 seconds left. There's about a 10-second difference with the shot clock. Kevin Crowley. He was with Team Canada. Now Chanenchuk. Pass too high for Maltz. And seen that from Charlotte. They're just not connecting on some of these passes once they're in the attacking end and trying to set up their offense.
Really uncharacteristic there. You know, the two short sticks on that side. It's definitely the side you want to attack. They had Perkovic stuck on defense there. You want to attack that offensive midfielder, and they're just not getting the looks that they deserve here.
Down to 6 seconds in the quarter. Cannons looking for the tying goal, and the pass across for Cockerton was intercepted, and then I think that was Schmidt who launched it down to Marrocco, and that'll do it for the first quarter of play. So just a lone goal from Michael Chanenchuk. And we head to the second quarter of play. It's the Hounds 1 and the Cannons nothing. This is Major League Lacrosse on Lac Sports Network.
Yeah, Scott, I think that's a factor. I think also the experience level of his opponents in Major League Lacrosse, as well as the experience factor of the wings who can get involved in the game and make a big difference. You just got a higher level of play, a higher caliber of opponent, guys who know how to counter really successful clampers like Trevor Baptiste.
Baptiste able to win that faceoff to begin the second quarter, and the Cannons trailing the Hounds 1-0. Scott Sudikoff, Malcolm Chase here with you. Happy to have you with us on Lac Sports Network. And a shot and score by Sergio Perkovic, who in his off time from lacrosse has been playing some flag football, catching passes from Michael Vick. But he scores a goal here. The second-year man out of Notre Dame ties his game up 1-1.
Well, I really like this athletic goal out of Perkovic, just using his speed and athleticism to drive over the top on Earhart and get that overhand shot. I'd love to see more goals like this from him throughout the rest of the game. I think this is an area where he can really draw a lot of attention and force Charlotte to think about possibly sliding if he gets that kind of separation.
11th goal of the season for Perkovic. One of the taller offensive players you'll see at 6'4", 225 pounds. Usually see that type of height, that type of length on defense, but Noah Rack getting it to Ryan Brown off the face-off win. Noah Rack, I believe, has a little cheering section right now on the Charlotte offensive side of the field. They're wearing the UMass colors. Of course, he's a rookie out of UMass, where he was tremendous as a Minuteman. Shannon Chuck, who has the Charlotte goal, swings it off there to the far side, and now dodging from the top is Crowley. Back to Shannon Chuck, trying to go top shelf to that far corner, but missed it wide. Shot clock is at 20, as I try not to fall down out of our broadcast position, trying to look to the other side to see it. Again, shot clock is out on this side of the field. They continue to have it on the other side. So we have about 10 seconds left, I'm going to guess, and pass behind to Rambo, looking for a cutter down the wing, which was Crowley, and then they blow the horn, and that's a shot clock violation officially, and it's Boston ball.
Great job by Zed Williams to tie up Crowley there on the backside, preventing him from catching the ball there, where he's a very high percentage shooter.
2 minutes gone by in the second quarter. Kyle Denhoff bounces it wide of Cipriano. Denhoff had a couple of goals in the opening week matchup that the Cannons had against Charlotte. Denhoff again. Got blocked by a stick. I think that was Hooper's stick. And now here comes Jake Richard in transition for Charlotte. Schmidt to Brown, and getting a piece of that to deflect it was Mitch Belisle. See how quickly, though, Ryan Brown is ready to shoot that ball, though, even from a not a high percentage angle, really.
Well, Mitch Belisle.
Oh, good little pick and roll, Cooper and Rambo. Cooper, though, stepped in the crease.
Knows how to eat those shots. He has so much box experience and understands how to step to the shooter's stick and not directly at the player.
Speaking of Mitch Belisle, today's his 111th career game with Boston. Most games played by any Cannon in team history. Started his career with the Los Angeles Riptide. And then when that team closed up shop, he came to the Cannons in a dispersal draft back in 2009. Open, Cockerton, Cipriano with the save. Charlie Cipriano sad, really having his best season numbers-wise. 52% save percentage. Last year was down around 48%. This is a Charlotte team that did make it to the playoffs 2 seasons ago with an 8-6 record, lost in the semifinals. But a team, if you look back to 2013, that made it all the way to the championship game, losing to Chesapeake, to the Bayhawks that season. And Marrocco with the stop up against the post against John Hawes.
Hawes was screaming for that ball. Fahey had jumped upfield to try to double, and the Hounds moved the ball quickly down to Hawes, and he just pulled the trigger a little too low of an angle, especially on Marrocco. He saw that one all the way in.
Game seems to have not as much energy to it, really. Just kind of both teams almost going through the motions a little bit. Things haven't really fired up yet, as if we're waiting for something to happen to get the teams really fully engaged right now.
Yeah, it doesn't always have to be a goal. It could be a big hit. Really clutch save.
Or a two-pointer by Perkovic, but it's saved by Cipriano. And now he outlets it to Brett Schmidt. See if Charlotte can use it in transition here. Dropped off for Earhart. He'll try a two-pointer and can't get it on goal. Earhart leads all defensemen in the league in goals and points.
Rebound from that shot, bouncing up to the 30-yard line there. That was a bomb.
And this ball bouncing back near midfield, but Chanenchuk there to scoop it up for Charlotte. Hounds are 3-3 on the road this year, and they finished up their home season pretty early. Had to play these final 3 games on the road. And actually, their final home game wasn't even in Charlotte. It was played in Charleston. Marrocco the save, rebound, Cooper, the fake, and the save by Marrocco makes another stop. Nick Marrocco with a tremendous effort there. Ryan Brown, though, gets to the loose ball. He just hung with Kevin Cooper, who put 2 or 3 fakes on him, made the save. Then the rebound he stopped as well, and then he snags that one, making it look pretty easy against Ryan Brown. So quite the sequence for the rookie, Nick Marrocco.
I don't know how he made that save, but that's why he's standing between the pipes right now.
Cooper's got to feel like he was robbed. Now Marrocco going to bring it over midfield. Maybe channeling some inner Blaze Reardon, or he did with Albany a couple of years ago in the NCAA tournament. Just ran up the field all by himself and scored. Now Marrocco has to rush back as Chanenchuk has the ball at midfield. And Marrocco was just about back in time, but Brown hit it off the post. All right, got a little energy out of that sequence, though, for sure. And Nick Marrocco needs a breather, I think. He's getting a hug from Mitch Belisle. And he will get that breather with a timeout on the field. 8:24 to go in the second quarter. We are tied 1-1 here on Lax Sports Network. So look at what Marrocco had to deal with just a few moments ago. We'll get a chance to look at that in a second here. This is the Sergio Perkovic goal attempt, excuse me. Cipriano made a save, and then it led to an outlet. And then we'll see what had to deal with. Here we go. This is what we're talking about. Kevin Cooper makes that save, the rebound, another stop. Cooper and Haas both denied, and eventually, in the end, Ryan Brown tried a shot as well, and Nick Marrocco made it look, pretty simple.
Unbelievable reactions, trying to keep pace with Kevin Cooper's stick.
Perkovic. Behind for Stanwyck. It's got McMahon caught up in the crease. Stanwyck finds Pannell, scores, and Boston leads 2-1. Excellently done by Stanwyck, patiently waiting for James Pannell to open up, and Pannell scores his 28th goal of the season to give Boston a 2-1 lead.
Well, this is great team offense here, and Stanwyck doing a great job at keeping his defender hung up as Pannell comes over the top. This is more of that off-ball play that looked like the Cannons were trying to get going in that first quarter and just weren't connecting on a lot of the shots.
So for Pannell, his 28th of the season, 38 points, leads the Cannons. First year with Boston. Played last year with Atlanta, his first season with the Lizards. Rack and Baptiste on the faceoff. And off the wing, Max Sebald had the beat on it. And a loose ball push going on Charlotte. So the Cannons will get the possession. James Fahey will move it ahead, and the Cannons can set up offense, leading 2-1 with 7:20 to go in the second quarter. It was 1-0 Charlotte after the first. Coming out of the box on a change was Kyle Jackson. Now it's Sebald, one of the best two-point shooters that this league has seen, and shot that one inside the arc there. But Stanwyck and Jackson out there with Cockerton, Pannell. Denhoff and Sebald roaming around as well, and that's a score by Kyle Jackson, who was able to look off his defender, looked as if he may be passing to Shaq Stanwyck on the other side, the other post, and instead sneaks it into the near side, and Jackson scores his 4th goal of the season.
Well, it's just unlucky for Haas here.
Actually snuck it in that far side.
Doing a nice job at squeezing Jackson down into a low angle.
No, it was near side. All right,
he just tucked it. Yeah. Good quick release. Caught Cipriano off guard.
But I think to your point, though, talking about the off-ball movement, I think the movement of Stanwyck there, though, kind of helped open that up because the defense thought that maybe that ball was going to go across to him at the far post.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've seen that out of several offensive sets now, initiating with one man. We've seen them playing a lot of two-man, especially out of those lefties to get Jackson, Cochran lined up on that side.
And Trevor Baptiste getting some momentum here. Another face-off win. Now the Cannons look for 4 consecutive goals potentially as they lead by 2 right now. And this is a game that has tons of importance for Charlotte. They could, by the end of tomorrow, they could be in the playoffs or they could be eliminated from the playoffs while the rest of the league still plays next week. This is their final game of the season, coming in 7-6. Perkovic. Being covered tightly there by Jake Richard. Now Pannell, a jump shot, and Cipriano makes the stop. Charlotte mentioned last Saturday, 20-10 victory over Chesapeake to snap the 4-game losing streak that they had. And look at this Hounds team. Again, 7-6. They've beaten Chesapeake twice. They also have a win this season against Dallas. So they have been able to beat the 2 top teams right now in the standings on 3 occasions. Save with the left leg by Marrocco against Kevin Crowley, who had 6 goals for Team Canada in Netanya at the World Championships, and stops him from scoring his 7th goal of this MLL season. Crowley again, double comes, got rid of it. Chanenchuk on the right wing. Defense by Matt Bertrams.
Fahey gave Crowley a big whack there as he went above his man.
Cooper getting it from Crowley. Rolls right, save Marrocco. I think Marrocco looks like he's pretty dialed in right now.
Seeing the ball very well.
Now the Cannons trying to get a fast break opportunity against Charlotte, which are few and far between against the Hounds. Opponents only shoot 28.6% on the fast break against Charlotte, which is the lowest percentage in the league. So from Charlotte's perspective, the best. So one of the questions coming into the game, where could the Cannons run against Charlotte? They slow it down here. And again, for stats like that, Joe Keegan, Moneyball Lacrosse, does a great job of punching those numbers for us.
I think they'll assess those situations carefully, and that's interesting. They had 2 poles.
Great look. Williams to Stanwyck. And Boston has scored 4 in a row.
They're going to bank on those crafty attackmen. They've got so many great offensive players on the offensive side of the ball. Right here you see Stanwyck doing what he does so well, tucking the ball away on the backside.
Welcome back to Boston, where Shaq Stanwyck just gave the Cannons a 4-1 lead. Tonight's MLL Game of the Week on ESPN Plus features 2 teams with championship aspirations as the Denver Outlaws visit the Chesapeake Bayhawks. Both teams obviously in the thick of the playoff race, and both teams in contention for home field advantage in the semifinals. Denver at Chesapeake at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Plus tonight. If Chesapeake wins that game, they clinch the number 2 seed at least and host a semifinal game. Denver wins, then the 2 teams are tied, and then we'll have to figure things out next weekend. Cannons have scored 4 in a row, and I think this is 4 straight face-off wins as well. Baptiste to Pannell was trying to get an early shot off, but got the ball knocked away by Matt McMahon, but the Cannons able to regain the possession. And well, Malcolm, we showed the numbers from Trevor Baptiste, 47% to begin his Major League Lacrosse career. And even though the competition different than what he saw in the World Games and the rules different, have to think that there's still a confidence factor that he's bringing back from Israel. And how about confidence there? Kyle Jackson from Shaq Stanwyck. And the Cannons have scored 5 in a row and lead 5-1. Second goal today for Jackson. Moving without the ball yet again.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Stanwyck starting to set up camp back there at X and having a lot of success finding his teammates. And the Cannons doing a great job moving off ball, as you mentioned. And Jackson does a really good job at continuing his momentum downhill to allow himself to keep his hands free and avoid any sort of disruption check to that shot. You were talking about that energy. You're looking for some energy early on. You trace it back to that Marrocco save.
Without a doubt, you're right.
Gave this team some juice, and now they're on a tear.
Again, I made the comment, right. Just something, waiting for something to happen, both these teams, and it was Marrocco making that sequence of saves against Cooper and John Hawes and Ryan Brown. And then since that point, I think it's been 4 more goals added on by the Cannons. And another face-off win. So now the Cannons dominating time of possession here, not giving Charlotte any chance to score. Max Sebald skips it wide. Clangs off one of the ad boards back there. Coca-Cola, one of the Coca-Cola MVP at the end of the game today. Have the Powerade Power Through play of the game. It's a Powerade type of day for sure right now with how hot it is. As that is wide and goes to the Hounds as Matt McMahon was there for Charlotte. Playing in his 4th game with Charlotte after being traded from Ohio. We talked about that earlier for Ben Randall, who started at Ohio State and is a Columbus native. So he's back in his home area playing for the Machine. Minute 50 to go in the first half. And the Cannons have scored all 5 goals in the second quarter. Rambo spins off of Brandon Mullins. Help comes from Belial on the ball down, and Mullins able to pick it up. And then Brody Merrill able to track it down after Dylan Maltz got in the way for a moment. Here comes Tim Edwards over midfield. Makes you think maybe a little bit here for Charlotte if they're having maybe any issue just getting those World Games guys back into the lineup a little bit, maybe haven't been able to play as much, obviously, together. That maybe that's part of the issue. Zed Williams with it.
I think at times that could be an issue, assimilation.
Williams, good look to Rogers, who scores his 2nd goal of the season. 6 in a row by the Cannons, and again, another assisted goal here. So movement without the ball has been terrific for the Cannons in this game. It's got to be 4 or 5 of the goals have been assisted.
Yeah, and this is a great spin-off by Williams here to set up Rogers. And Rogers doing a good job at opening his body up to the inside of the field off of this 2-man play. Young players, pay attention. Don't turn your back to the ball in the 2-man game. Keep yourself open to your teammate. And Rogers does that so well. He's available all the way through the progression of that play.
4 of the 6 Boston goals have been assisted on.
I think Boston's doing a really good job on the defensive side of the field as well, and a lot of it's being sparked by Mitch Belial. You don't see a lot of it, but on that previous play, very well-timed slide to help create that turnover.
One of our officials goes down there after administering the face-off. He's back up, and that's John Hill, our alternate crew chief. Charlotte able to win a face-off. It's been a while, and going low with the shot was Will Hawes. Marrocco able to make another stop. Ball loose on the far side with 30 seconds left in the quarter. Rambo chopping away on Brandon Mullins. And I believe Boston going to get the timeout called with 24.8 seconds left in the first half. And probably got to say that this might be one of the best halves that the Cannons have played all season. And really, you'd kind of truncate it and say it's really the best quarter that they've played. Entered the quarter down 1-0 and have scored 6 in a row and have seen great play by Nick Marrocco in goal, which, you know, to be blunt, the goalie position has been a bad spot this season for Boston. Haven't really been able to find any consistency there, and good day so far for Marrocco.
Marrocco can be so clutch, you know, and he makes a lot of the save that you're supposed to, and a bunch of save that maybe most goalies wouldn't have a chance on. He's got such great reactions inside. Get some of the best finishers in the league, Kevin Cooper being one of them. He's seeing all those shots well between Cooper, some of Ryan Brown's step downs.
Marrocco's got 9 saves in this first half. And in the face-offs, I have it as 7 wins for the Cannons, 2 for Charlotte. So they have done, Trevor Baptiste and his wings have done a great job. Nick Marrocco in goal, and that's really set the tone for the Cannons to score 6 goals in a row and have 4 of those be assisted on.
Well, we've talked about this in a number of broadcasts this year. It's not for a lack of talent on this Boston roster. It's just about getting those pieces to fit together and having that chemistry. Right now, they're hitting on all cylinders. What they have had difficulty doing, even in other games where they've led, is closing. And that's going to be a question for the second half.
Yeah, they turn it over here, and McMahon looking to go to the empty goal as Marrocco had left the crease. And he shot it wide, luckily for the Cannons, so they get it back here with 10 seconds. And the goal open on the other side for a moment. Cipriano gets back. Now he's going to heave one towards Marrocco, who is going to return the favor. We're just playing hot potato. 90 yards up and down the field there. And that does it for the first half of play, but the Cannons with a terrific end to the half as they score all 6 goals of the second quarter, get 9 first half saves by Nick Marrocco, and have this 6-1 lead. So really got to think the best first half or just the best quarter that the Cannons have had all season.
The Boston Cannons Game of the Week is powered by Boston Sports Performance Center, where performance has no limits. BSPC is a premier sports performance, physical therapy, and sports medicine center serving the Boston and Metro West communities.
Really solid team effort that first half, going into the second half leading 6-1. Low-scoring game on both sides. Goalie Nick Marrocco in his rookie season playing really well in between the pipes here at home in Boston. We'll see you at the conclusion of the game for a final analysis.
I think some of the shot selection was great, Scott. I just think Marrocco was standing on his head.
10 saves.
Yeah, in terms of the sliding, you know, he wants more of that decisiveness, and you either go or you show. But yeah, I can appreciate that from his perspective. In my opinion, and if I'm pulling the trigger, I'm telling my defenseman to go hard on this Cannons offense.
Well, good start at the face-off X for Charlotte out of the break. Save by Marrocco, his 11th, stopping Will Hawes. So after Noah Rack was able to win the face-off for just the 3rd time today, but now it's turned over by Boston and picked off by Jake Richard for the Hounds. Charlotte's only goal was early, first quarter, by Michael Chandenchuk. And then the Cannons scored all 6 of their goals in the second quarter of play. Scott Sudikoff, Malcolm Chase here with you at Harvard Stadium, where it's cooled down a little bit. The sun's setting, getting a bit breezy. There was a chance of rain at some point. Out from X, Crowley, and Marrocco got enough of it. He couldn't find it, but picking up the ground ball was Brandon Mullins. And then a bad pass to Tim Muller. So that's twice now the Cannons have failed on the clear, minute and 5 seconds into the quarter.
You don't want to put Marrocco in a position where he has to make those amazing saves. And certainly want to give your defense an opportunity to rest. Early on in this third quarter, that fatigue's going to add up as much as I think it's cooled down a little bit here. It's still pretty spicy down at the field level.
Brown, catch and shoot, and he buries it. Ryan Brown, what he does best, and Nick Marrocco can't save that. And the Hounds, finally get back on the board here. 31st goal of the season for Ryan Brown. And that just catch and shoot ability. And this is the left-handed shot from the right wing.
Yeah, Ryan Brown, he's not the man you want to leave open off ball here. And Bilal's just a little bit late getting out to him.
And Brown, 25 goals for Team USA in the World Championships. Led the Hounds last year with 34 goals. Baptiste able to come up with this one for the Cannons after losing the first one of this third quarter. Baptiste wrestled down by Brett Schmidt. We have not yet had a penalty today, but we have a hold going on Charlotte, and Boston will maintain possession here.
Well, it's a veteran play by Baptiste, recognizing that Schmidt's landing that check, immediately clamps down on the stick and manages to draw that hold. Frustrating for defenders. And offensive players have enough savvy to do that.
Perkovic on the dodge, got free. Not able to put it on goal against Cipriano.
Veteran play for the rookie. I'll qualify that.
Zed Williams got Earhart turned around. Shot clock at 40. Here's Kyle Jackson, who has 2 goals. Matched up with Tim Rotans. Now Perkovic. Slide comes from Barclay. Now James Pannell will back things out with 20 to shoot. Trying to skip it across to Perkovic, and Barclay intercepts it. Now he's on the run for the Hounds. The rookie out of Providence going to fire one down low towards Maltz, and he could not control it. And it goes out to the Cannons. Is that maybe an instance where the rookie, Barclay, maybe should take a shot in that instance?
Well, I think he did a pretty good job at selling the shot, and I think he even sold it to Maltz a little bit. Maltz wasn't ready. It wasn't a terrible look. Maltz certainly had an opportunity to corral that. If he had a pretty good look on the back door.
Rogers comes out of the box now with it. Behind for Stanwyck. We've seen him in this position just about all game. Has a couple of assists. He's also scored a goal as well. Here's Mark Cockerton. Flings it back to Stanwyck, rolling to his right. Went for the 1-foot bounce. Jump shot. Shot clock at 13. Pannell. Denhoff holds on to it and had it raked out from behind by Schmidt. Play continues and saved by Cipriano against Rogers. Now this whistle goes against Denhoff, keeping it with Charlotte.
Schmidt had a pretty serious wrap check there that I think should have been called a hold. And the referees need to hold on to the whistle there and just let it go. Let the players sort it out. Stay consistent.
Here's Rambo, who has been shut down so far. This is a Charlotte offense it's a Boston defense that struggles with dodges out from X. A player like Matt Rambo. Opponents shoot 38% against the Cannons on dodges from X. Once again, thanks to Joe Keegan at Moneyball Lacrosse for that number, and Ryan Brown shoots that wide. And exciting tomorrow night, we'll have our first quote-unquote Moneyball Lacrosse broadcast. Joe Keegan will join Travis Eldridge on the call of the Lizards-Rattlers game. That'll be tomorrow night here on LSN at 7 p.m. And loose ball, Dylan Maltz finds it and scores the second straight goal for the Hounds. So Charlotte, maybe not a pretty goal, but doing what they got to do now to climb back into it within 3.
You see her mulch just cleaning up the garbage on the doorstep. Marrocco's frustration. Cannons need to stop this mounting claim by the Hounds.
2 weeks from today, we'll have the MLL semifinals right here on Lax Sports Network. And then 3 weeks from today, on the 18th, the champion will be crowned. The winner will get the Steinfeld Trophy, and we will see. We will not have a repeat champion. We know that. Ohio eliminated from the playoffs last week officially. Obviously, the Bayhawks and Outlaws have been champions. Atlanta and Charlotte hoping to get their first crack at it. Well, Charlotte has been in a championship game but haven't won one, but hoping maybe to put one on their tally. The Lizards, of course, they won back in 2015. Most recently, they're on the, right now, the outside looking into the playoffs, but just a half game behind Charlotte right now. Perkovic battling, draws the double team, and now Kyle Jackson fires one in. What a pretty shot by Kyle Jackson. He bounced off the contact, was holding onto the stick with one hand, and then was still able to rear back and fire it home to put the Cannons back up by 4-7-3.
Well, great job by Perkovic to stir the pot here up top and create a little bit of separation for Jackson to bounce his man and then open up his hands. This great lefty submarine shot. Cipriano just can't catch up to that off stick.
This is a player, Kyle Jackson, that many expecting a lot of. He had 14 goals in 9 games last year in his rookie season, 23 points in total. Only 3 goals in the first 3 games he played this year, but now he's doubled that with the hat trick today. And maybe another player that he played in the World Championships and coming back with some extra oomph, some extra confidence. So the Cannons scored their first goal of the third quarter and back up by 4.
I think that was a much needed goal to get this momentum going again. Marrocco had that great save right at the start of the quarter, and I thought that was the start of another run for the Cannons, and then the Hounds pulled within a 2-possession game.
Zed Williams. Good defense by McMahon. Williams had a little bit of room to kind of little worm burner type of shot that Cipriano kicks away. Now for the Cannons, Zed Williams really jumped onto the scene, but also Will Sands, the rookie, started hot for the Cannons, but ended up breaking his hand and missing the rest of the season. That gets deflected by Hooper, changing the direction against Cipriano, and it ends up in the back of the net and a Cannons goal for Max Sebald.
Sebald gets it done in so many ways. Not to say this wouldn't have been a great shot on cage had it not been deflected. He gets a little bit of help in the change of that trajectory.
I don't see that as much as you might see it, say, in hockey with the redirect. But that one certainly changed direction against Cipriano. You can see his reaction right afterwards of just, I saw it, and then I didn't.
He's having a little chuckle, but it'll take him how he can get him.
So Sebald, his 9th goal this season for the Cannons, playing in his final season in the league, his 10th year, his 4th with Boston. So the Cannons reassume that 5-goal lead, 8-3 here with 7:33 to go. Win a faceoff, Fahey to Pannell. Open in front, Fahey with the pole, scores a long pole goal for James Fahey. And it's 9-3 Cannons.
Welcome back to Boston. James Fahey getting involved. One of the more athletic poles in the league. They leave him wide open on the crease here. He does a nice job at kind of hiding himself behind his defender and then just opening up to the ball at X.
His second goal in as many games here with the Cannons this season.
It's a surprisingly gentle touch, that James Fahey.
Now largest lead of the day is 6 for Boston, 9-3. And Shaq Stanwyck picking up another assist out of that feeder position behind the goal. Zed Williams draws 2. Cochran back for Stanwyck. McMahon now caught up in the crease. And Boston's been very successful in this situation. The pass to Pannell, though, bounces by him. Williams has a beat on it. 1-on-2. Brett Schmidt trying to scoop it up. And then Schmidt and Cochran come together. And Jackson is able to direct it over towards Williams with 12 on the shot clock.
Great job by Williams to fend off 2 Charlotte Hounds there on that loose ball.
Clock is at 5. And they're going to lose possession to Tim Rotans. Charlotte 7-6 on the season. Last game of their season here today. Although they're hoping 2 weeks from today to be playing in the semifinals, but a loss today and they're going to be in serious jeopardy. A win doesn't necessarily lock anything up, but kind of goes without saying. They'll be in a better spot if they can win this game. John Hawes behind the goal with Rambo, trying a little 2-man game potentially. Out to Chanenchuk, swings it to Brown. He's covered up nicely by Merrill. Rambo comes out for Mex, gets to the middle, has a step, and then checked away from behind. I think that was, in the end, that was Mullins who was the one who was able to dislodge it, even though he was behind Rambo. And saved by Cipriano against Cochran on the other side, so the Cannons try to go quickly in transition, but Cipriano denies them. This is a pace, though, I think that if it goes up and down, would favor Charlotte, especially when you look at the numbers. Chanenchuk can't get it on goal. I mentioned that Charlotte leading the league in fast break goals, and then defensively leading the league in fewest, or best percentage against them on fast breaks.
That's right. I think if Brad Pitt's your head coach, then you're probably slowing the ball down on every possession here if you're playing that money ball game. I know you're a fan.
I wasn't sure we were going there at first, actually, with the Brad Pitt reference, but Moneyball lacrosse.
That brings up an excellent point, though, Scott. I mean, Cannons up 9-3. You want to push transition when you have it. You mentioned how teams don't have a lot of success against Charlotte in that game. Maybe we're slowing it down and trying to get as much out of each possession that you can.
4:10 left to go in the third quarter. Cannons have outscored Charlotte 3-2 here in the third to extend their halftime lead of 5 out to 6, largest it's been all day. Charlotte led 1-0 to begin the game. Denhoff steps down into one and scores. Kyle Denhoff with his 11th of the season, and the Cannons hit double figures and lead 10-3. So the Cannons pushing the lead out to 7. Kyle Denhoff. It's 10-3 Boston. Lizards are a half game behind Charlotte for that final playoff spot. And right now the Lizards are Cannons fans. Atlanta and Florida saying the same, as they're getting ready to play down in Boca. That game starts in half an hour. Both of those teams hoping to see Charlotte lose. So there's 3 other teams behind Charlotte in the standings right now that are Cannons fans right now. And Charlotte has made a change in goal. Pierce Bassett has come in, number 33, between the pipes right now. He had 11 saves in the win last Saturday for Charlotte over Chesapeake.
Oh, Bassett just had a nice piece of Perkovic's shot there to send it over the back of the cage.
Earhart zooms onto that one and moves ahead. Trailer, Richard steps into one and fires wide short side. As the Hounds facing a 7-goal deficit right now, fighting for their playoff lives. Maltz got denied, still picks up a loose ball. Now Rambo comes out from behind the goal with Marrocco out of the position. Rambo launching himself towards the crease, but did not have the angle to tuck that one in. It was that side of the field we saw Will Manny in the All-Star game come out from behind the goal and launch himself Superman style and score in that All-Star game. Brown wide. Rambo on the backup. 2:09 to go in the third quarter. Two-man game, Rambo and Maltz. Cutter open, Crowley denied by Marrocco. And transition the Cannons. Bertrams to Pannell, diagonally, Cockerton, score. No, that isn't, excuse me. But a beautiful setup by Boston. Transition and a diagonal pass to Cockerton. He scores for the Cannons, and it's 11-3.
Marrocco kicks off this fast break. A tremendous save. The Cannons doing a great job in transition, which we challenged them to do at the beginning of the broadcast. And that's a great skip through to Cockerton. It's such a great release for that low lefty position.
Cockerton playing in his 6th game with the Cannons since coming over in the trade with Ohio that sent Davey Emila to the machine. He had 13 goals for Team Canada in the World Games. And Trevor Baptiste with a face-off win. 11-3 Boston. And the Cannons look like the team right now that has all that playoff hopes to play for in this one. If you were to come and watch this game, if you were watching this game and had no idea and you said, hey, which one of these teams might be a playoff team, you'd think the team in navy blue and red. James Pannell scores, and it's 12-3 Cannons, and they are trying to run away and hide from the Hounds.
This play started with a great pickoff by Rogers at the midfield as the Hounds were transitioning and caught him in a 3-on-2. Pannell did a nice job at looking across at Cockerton, selling a similar look to that previous play. With Stanwyck on the backside there, and Pannell just gets one for himself.
Malcolm, you had mentioned this earlier in this broadcast. We did a game earlier this year with the Cannons and talked about the idea of there's a lot of talent up and down the roster, and it was surprising that they weren't having success. And now today you're seeing pretty good success. It's really, and it's starting with the two, you could argue, two most important positions. Your face-off guy, Trevor Baptiste, and now your goalie, Nick Marrocco, who at times has had to stand on his head during the game, but you need that from a goalie occasionally. It's really sparked this team.
Answered the call. It's really been a matter of chemistry. And I think that the Cannons, a little late in the season, they're really starting to find that right mix.
Well, if anything, with this game today, and if they continue on the trend and then finish off next week against Ohio, could be a springboard into 2019 and get a look at maybe these more of a reason to bring back a lot of these players in the nucleus and keep them together. And Haas save Marrocco. Loops it ahead for Fahey. Still got 20 seconds left in the quarter and a chance for the Cannons to go up by double digits.
Well, number one is demonstrating he's a guy you want to bring back.
All-American at Georgetown this past season. Big East goalie of the year. Georgetown got back to the NCAA tournament for the first time in a while. BTB attempt by Fahey. Couldn't get it on goal. And that's after the horn. That goes in the back of the net, so it'll stay 12-3. But Wow, the third quarter started with Charlotte scoring a couple in a row. We thought they were coming back, but all Cannons here towards the end.
Yeah, ton of juice for the Cannons. Going into the fourth quarter here, you see here Pannell getting his own. Cannons up 12-3.
Cannons are all over the Hounds, 12-3, getting ready for the fourth quarter of play. And Malcolm, it starts with the face-off. Face-off X, Trevor Baptiste, 15 of 18. And then, I don't want to say it ends with Nick Marrocco. It also starts with Nick Marrocco. He's got 15 saves and goal for Boston. And that, without a doubt, those two specialist players have been the catalyst for this for the Cannons.
Yeah, those possessions are so crucial. I mean, you can equate a good percent of those, the goals the Cannons have had tonight. You see Baptiste fighting for every inch, even on that last one. He got called for a hold, but he's definitely fighting for every possession for his team tonight and having a lot of success.
To begin the fourth quarter, Charlotte has the offensive possession, down by 9, fighting for the playoffs, and they need a huge comeback. Ryan Brown trying to start it, can't get it on goal. Here's Hawes. Rolls away. Now back behind for Rambo. Lost it momentarily. Able to recover it. 15 on the shot clock. Back to his left. Shoots. Try to go far post, and getting a piece of it on the way by was Marrocco. Gains the shot clock reset. But Cannons end up getting the ball, though. Bounce pass in front and saved by Bassett against Stanwyck. Trying to go no look. And now Earhart with the ground ball for Charlotte. On the run is Will Hawes. Drops it off Brown and diving, trying to get possession with Charlotte. It's Marrocco, though, who's closest.
Mitch Belial's eating a number of shots tonight for his goaltender. Credit him with a couple of saves.
Jackson, Pannell fakes it. Now to Stanwyck. Defender hung up. Perkovic. Back to Stanwyck. Out to Cockerton. Patient possession. Shot clock to 9. In front, Stanwyck lost it. Still kind of came off as a shot, then trickled off the post. He didn't really get that shot off the way he wanted to, and it still almost bounced in for the Cannons. Earhart for 2, saved by Marrocco. That is save number 16 for Nick Marrocco. And Malcolm, they might make us choose. Well, we usually choose a Coca-Cola player of the game, but a lot of times it's more cut and dry, and Rogers goes high to low and scores his second of the game for the Cannons, and it's 13-3. And what I was saying is usually it's pretty cut and dry, but again, we've talked about Trevor Baptiste, 15 of 18 at the faceoffs, and Nick Marrocco has made 16 saves. I'm putting in a petition right now that we're leaning towards the
co-MVP
players of the game.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing a lot of contributions from a lot of different players tonight, and Rogers getting involved with this overhand shot, almost from downtown. But yeah, I've got to agree with you. Both of those guys, the face-off X and the between the pipes, the Cannons have been exceptionally strong tonight. Rogers does such a great job on the defensive side of the field. You know, I can imagine if he was not as good a defender, you'd see him more involved in the offensive sets for the Cannons, because he is such a great offensive player as well.
So Charlotte kind of facing the opposite of what they had last Saturday against Chesapeake, where they really blew the Bayhawks out of the water, 20-10. Now they trail by 10 with 11:20 to go in the game. Marrocco corralling it there, the backside of the crease.
Great job by Mullins to hedge in there and help Belisle sandwich his man.
Cockerton back behind for Stanwyck. I mean, you look at Cockerton, Stanwyck, Baptiste, Marrocco, Jackson, Williams. Those are guys that weren't a part of this team for the first quarter, if not more, of the season. Zed Williams. Back up by Stanwyck. Stanwyck has it dislodged from his cross. And he stepped in the crease. We haven't had a flag today, which is pretty rare. Usually we at least get a couple.
Yeah.
It was 1-0 Charlotte after the first. The Cannons scored all 6 goals of the second. Led 6-1. And then 12-3 entering this fourth quarter. John Crowley matched up with Rogers behind the goal. Dodges out, got a step, fakes high, goes low. And John Crowley scores for the Hounds to make it 13-4. And will send us to a break with 9:51 left to go in the fourth quarter. It's still all Cannons. Boston 13, Charlotte 4. This is Major League Lacrosse on Lax Sports Network. And Malcolm, again, this is a game we were not expecting this type of game here today. We certainly expected the Cannons to show up and play well, but you know, the Hounds, this is a Charlotte team that is playing for the playoffs. And again, I made the comment earlier, if you just walked in off the street watching this game, which team is in the playoff hunt, you'd say the team in blue and red.
Yeah, it certainly seems like that, and I think this is just the culmination of all those pieces that the front office had pictured in their minds coming together, you know, finally gelling, and the Cannons are just playing their best ball tonight. Hounds have been pretty flat. Even at halftime, you expected a little bit more juice out of those guys coming out of the locker room. It was a nice trail check by Schmidt. It's almost a reverse ding-dong where it looks like he's going over the head and brings it back behind his player.
Rambo. Brown open, steps into it. Missing wide to the far side.
It's a rare miss.
Yeah, and maybe Brown even thinking a little bit extra there with the way that Marrocco has been playing. And bounced home two-pointer by John Crowley. Makes it 13-6 with 8:37 left. A couple more of those, and we'll have a different story down the stretch here.
Good heads-up job by Crowley here. It's an excellent three-quarter shot from outside. Waving his stick around, really feeling it. Looking for that one more.
It looks like urging on his teammates here that there is time with 8:37 left. And a two-pointer to make it 13-6 here. So now it's where Noah Rack for Charlotte needs to get hot, but Baptiste with the fairly clean victory at the X. Baptiste losing it near the crease, and then inside there for Bassett. So, you know, Baptiste, that's one of those ones where Baptiste wins the faceoff, but the Cannons don't really get the possession out of it.
Got to value the ball more there. There's no reason to go underneath another defender from Charlotte. He's doing such a great job at the faceoff action. With 8 minutes left, a 7-goal lead, he can really impact the game, essentially decide the game. Even if Charlotte continues to score, Cannons can secure the next 7 possessions.
Channon Chuck At GLE, forced behind the goal, double team, trying to get rid of it, and it bounces off both of the Cannons defenders there. Marrocco got shoved there by Rambo. And on the far side, Brown and Belial. Rambo. Rambo loves initiating contact, that's for sure. And now, at midfield, it's Tim Edwards for the Cannons. He has it chopped out of his stick by Earhart. Earhart and Maltz trying to combine to win the ball back. Instead, it's Brody Merrill momentarily for the Cannons, and now he has full possession. And the shot clock ran all the way down. They're saying the Cannons had possession of that ball for 60 seconds, maybe.
Yeah, that was strange, Sky. I looked over. I saw the clock had been at 0 for
a couple of seconds.
A couple of seconds, yeah. It was kind of a strange countdown.
So
saw Earhart create that turnover.
Seven minutes left to go. 13-6 Boston. After the Crowley two-pointer a moment ago, Chanenchuk faking one. Had one last week. Hounds hoping to quickly restart things here. That clock continues to wind down. Crowley got by Bertram's momentarily. He's able to trail him, get back to him. Chanenchuk takes the 2. Still 31 on the shot clock. Rambo. John Hawes got a step bounce it, save Marrocco. 17th save of the game. Conkerton against Schmidt. Bringing it into the offensive end for the Cannons, leading 13-6. Conkerton got knocked down, losing the ball.
Saw Schmidt landing another nice over-the-head check there.
Denhoff on the run, and Bassett, who came in the third quarter, able to track that one and make the save. And now Charlotte looking to go in transition. Richard. And he bowls it home. The underhand type of shot there by Richard on the run out. His 4th goal of the season, 13-7 with 5:24 left, Malcolm. So things, Charlotte hanging around just enough right now to have some hope here in these final 5:24.
Rack's got to do a good job of getting this ball out, not allowing Baptiste to get that immediate clamp and secure possession.
Baptiste is 17 of 22. Rack is 5 of 20. You've seen Michael Earhart take a couple of face-offs, but it's Rack right now. And able to get a nice win. Gets away from Baptiste. Brown couldn't control the bouncer. And picking up the ball is Tim Muller. So that was exactly what Charlotte needed and wanted right there.
Yeah, I'm sure Brown would love to have that one back.
Now the Cannons can take this one well below 5 minutes left on this possession. Cannons will finish off their season here at home against Ohio next Saturday. The Hounds, this is their regular season finale. Jackson has Rotan's on him behind the net. Shot clock at 6. Now down to 3. Pannell bounces home. Shot clock was at maybe half a second when he gets that one off and scores. James Pannell, his 2nd of the game. 29th of the season. And with 4:15 left to go in the fourth quarter, it's the Cannons 14 and the Hounds 7. At that point, it was in the second quarter. It was 2-1 was the score in favor of Boston, and really helped them down. He makes his 17th save against Ryan Brown. Another one coming his way, skipped wide by Richard. So we've seen Charlotte now win a couple of face-offs, get some chances in transition, but it might be too little too late here with 3:55 left, trailing by 7. Don't forget here on LSN, starting actually in any moment now, Atlanta taking on Florida. And the Cannons going to call a timeout once they get that ball over midfield. Shaq Stanwyck has to deal with the hit either way, though, unfortunately.
Yeah, a bit of a buddy pass there, but his coach trying to save him a little extra physical abuse.
I mentioned the Florida-Atlanta game getting started any moment on LSN, and also on ESPN Plus. You'll find Denver and Chesapeake, which is a game that could decide who hosts the other in the MLL semifinals, because right now Chesapeake is second, Denver is third. Those teams could match up 2 weeks from today. And man, that, sometimes home field, home court, all that gets made out to be maybe a bigger deal than it is. But I honestly think in the situation when it comes to a team like Denver, that could be the difference between a Denver-Chesapeake game down the line 2 weeks from today.
100%. They have the best home field advantage in the league. Mile High Stadium. A number of players will tell you it's difficult walking in there and adjusting to the elements. Mm-hmm. Plus the atmosphere in Denver is pretty electric in that stadium. The fans are great out there. A lot of excitement on the ground for the Outlaws and former MLL champions, and they've been involved in the hunt for a number of years in this league.
Now for Charlotte, they lose this game here. They're not eliminated yet. Now, there are a couple of scenarios, though, that by the end of the day tomorrow could knock them out. And again, they don't play next weekend. They would finish 7-7 and then have to hope for everyone else to, for New York to lose a couple of times, for Atlanta to lose a couple of times, even in Denver potentially to lose to Chesapeake today and then lose next week as well, which I don't think they can against it. There's a lot of things. Atlanta plays Denver next week, so in that sequence, Atlanta can't lose both games, and also Denver lose both games. One of them will have to win, which is a rule of the game. One team has to win, one team has to lose. No participation trophies given out. Here's Stanwyck. 3:15 left to go, and the Cannons doubling up on the Hounds, 14-7. Kyle Jackson being watched by James Barclay. Behind the goal with Pannell. Clock down at 10. Obviously the Cannons want to work this one down as far as they can. Jackson, who's doubled his goal total today with a hat trick, now 6 on the season. Trail check knocked away by Richard. And now here comes Jake Richard, who scored a goal earlier in the quarter.
Really athletic play by Richard there to extend his stick and reach Pannell's head of his stick and dislodge the ball.
Chanenchuk once again going for the 2-pointer. And if you're Charlotte, you need, right now down by 7, you're going to need a couple of those right now to quickly get back into it to have any chance. Chanenchuk swallowed up, no room against Fahey. He scored a goal earlier this game.
You got to drop some twos. You need to free up Chanenchuk and work off ball and pick for him. And I just don't think the Hounds are up to the task to mount any kind of comeback like that right now.
It's disappointing, really, for Charlotte. And again, the fact that this ends their season, and we're gonna have a flag for the first time today, as Haas was getting just destroyed with a couple of sticks. Brown figuring with the flag down and might as well try to launch one here. Now look at the penalty with 1:51 to go, and the Cannons leading 14-7. So right now the Lizards, the Blaze, and the Launch are happy with the result here, or what looks like it's going to be the result. And they see that door opening a bit more. Obviously, the Lizards are probably in the best position. Blaze, too. They're both a half game behind Charlotte right now at the moment. Florida has the toughest road to make it happen, but they play Atlanta right now. So, they can't ask for a better matchup there in terms of figuring out which one of those teams will make the playoffs, if any of them. And the Lizards watching while they get ready to play Dallas tomorrow. They definitely see it in front of them, kind of a situation they can control on their own.
And you've got two teams coming off of big midweek wins. That should be a battle tonight between Florida and Atlanta.
So a man up, first time today, either team. Shannon Chuck, 2-pointer, saved by Marrocco. I believe that is 18 now. It is 18 saves now for the rookie from Georgetown.
Oh, he's thinking about it.
Goal empty on the other side. Flag coming in. Marrocco, he lost it at the last moment there as he got checked from behind. Man, he was trying to make sure, though, that there was no way we choose anyone else for a Coca-Cola player of the game if he was able to score a goal there. But right now, 19 saves, so I shorted him a couple. 19 saves and was moments away from potentially scoring a goal as well. Watch this.
Well, initially, I think he's just thinking about killing some clock here, but the Hounds give him no choice but to run for daylight.
Well, the net was empty. Bassett was getting back in. Minute 19 left. Marrocco, Duxbury, Massachusetts native, playing for his hometown pro team, the Boston Cannons. After 4 years being a four-year starter at Georgetown, the Hoyas got back to the NCAA tournament for the first time in a while. This past season, they beat Trevor Baptiste's Denver team in the Big East Championship game by a final score of 8-3. He and that Georgetown defense held that Denver offense to 3 goals. And now some of that translating onto the field here in a Cannons uniform. 40 seconds left. The Cannons about to be 4-9. Another stop by Marrocco. Give him a nice round 20. Loose ball picked up by Tim Muller. And the shot clock is off. And for Charlotte, this is going to be a tough one to take. They will end the regular season at 7-7. And now they're going to have to hope for the results to fall their way, not only tonight and tomorrow, but also the games next weekend. Empty net, and that was Brody Merrill. Was close.
He stuck it from there before. I remember the shot heard around the world a couple of years ago. Brody with some pressure put the ball in the cage from about 90 yards.
What a, for Charlotte, it's going to be such a helpless feeling, though, that they just have to sit back and hope all the results go in their favor. And time has expired here, even though we have 7.8 seconds left on the clock. I'm not sure what happened. The clock froze, and they blow a horn, and the game is over. So the Cannons win 14-7. Yeah, so, for Boston, they have arguably their best game, but maybe not arguably, their best game of the season.
The Boston Cannons Game of the Week is powered by Boston Sports Performance Center, where performance has no limits. BSPC is a premier sports performance, physical therapy, and sports medicine center serving the Boston and Metro West communities.
Awesome second half by the Boston Cannons, led by Kyle Jackson with the buzzer beater to put the Cannons over the top. And congratulations to goalie Nick Marrocco on picking up his first win of his major league career. We'll see you next week when we go back into the vault on Wednesday.